Well, thank you very much for joining us today at the Higher Education Access and Success Echo. My name is Martha Hughes, and I'm the Adults and Education Manager with United Way of North Central New Mexico. And today we are very excited to have New Mexico Higher Education Department staff with us from the Financial Aid Department. We have Interim Director Heather Romero and also Project Manager Mia Candelaria. So I'll pass it off to you both and can introduce yourselves and get started with the presentation.
Great, thank you so much, Martha. I really are excited that we can present here today and this afternoon. So thank you for welcoming us to this group. My name is Heather Romero, Financial Aid Manager, Interim Financial Aid Director here at the New Mexico Higher Ed Department in the Financial Aid Division. So again, we're extremely excited and pleased to be here this afternoon, and hopefully this information that we provide to you today will help you all in some of your roles within the higher education and financial aid distribution to our New Mexico students across the state. So I also have my colleague here with me, and it's Mia Candelaria. Mia, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Mia Candelaria. I am the Program Manager for the Financial Aid Division at the Higher Education Department.
Thank you, Mia. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So as you all know, we have the new initiative here within the state of New Mexico with our tuition-free college program. So next slide, please. So this is just, again, giving an understanding of what is our college free tuition program here within the state of New Mexico. This was a huge initiative, not only for our legislators, but our Governor Lujan Grisham to provide access and tuition-free college for all New Mexico students attending our post-public secondary educational institutions here in New Mexico. So I would like to go ahead and the next slide, please. So what's new? Expanding the Opportunity Scholarship. So the Opportunity Scholarship provides tuition-free college and required fees for part-time and full-time returning adult students and those pursuing career training certificates. So these training certificates are very broad and open to those students who are trying to obtain those career training certificates. They can also, it covers cover the cost of tuition for our lottery students. So with the way this current program is structured is we have two programs, our Legislative Lottery Scholarship and our Opportunity Scholarship. So individuals, there's going to be two paths for our New Mexico students. One is going to be our recent graduate students who are going to go on to a lottery path. And then we're going to have our Opportunity Scholarship for our returning adult learners. And so with that, the lottery students on that path will qualify for first semester funding, which typically is called the Bridge Scholarship. So the opportunity is going to kick in for these students, allowing them to have full access to their tuition and fees. It can be used, again, to cover those fees. It's a $50 credit hour or a $50 limit on those fees. So students can, again, benefit from the scholarship on the career training paths to receive an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. Next slide, please. So I want to present you all with our new Reach Higher New Mexico. This is a one-stop shop for all of our New Mexico students for the tuition-free college program. So this allows students to go on to here and determine what they're eligible for. What path are they going to be? Are they going to be on an opportunity scholarship? Are they going to be lottery eligible recipients? And so this again gives the parents and students the opportunity to go and get a feel for what do I call, who am I? Am I a recent college graduate? Or excuse me, a high school graduate? Am I a returning student? I'm not really sure. So again, it's the Reach Higher New Mexico. This website is geared for our students and parents, and it's a great resource. So this is something that I would note that you can also pass to your students and parents who are looking for information about the free tuition-free college in New Mexico. Next slide. So now we're going to get into kind of the eligibility requirements for the Opportunity Scholarship. So students must be New Mexico residents. It's 12 consecutive months within the state of New Mexico. Out-of-state members of any American Indian Nation, tribe, or pueblo located wholly or partially in New Mexico can also qualify regardless of their state of residency. So this was a great initiative that we have allowed individuals within this particular area to also have access to our Opportunity Scholarship funds. So students may receive up to 90, individuals going into enrollment, you cannot have more than 90 attempted credit hours for an associate's degree or 160 attempted for a bachelor's degree. So there is a statutory cap for the Opportunity Scholarship. So we want to ensure that students under this particular cap do not have an associate's or a bachelor's degree can actually access Opportunity Scholarship funding. We also have a clause for our disability students that in the event they have to take a reduced credit hour, which is the 6 minimum credit hours to continue and maintain eligibility, they may take less, and that would be done through student services at the higher education institution that they are attending. Students also have the option to enroll in summer courses and actually receive consideration and funding for opportunity funds. So this is also something that was never summer access to financial aid was always limited. And so we opened this up to our summer students. So again, it's between 3 and 9 credit hours and you can access funding for summer. Students also have to maintain continuous enrollment for fall and spring. Summer is not considered as an eligibility semester for continuous enrollment. However, individuals do have to maintain a 2.5 GPA beginning their first semester of receiving the Opportunity Scholarship and thereon after. Next slide. So the opportunity, again, is applied to fund 100% of tuition and fees after all other state aid has been applied. Students can enroll, again, a minimum of 6 credit hours or a maximum of 18 credit hours for fall and spring semesters. Students are encouraged but not required to complete the FAFSA. So this was a huge, we want to encourage our New Mexico students to fill out the FAFSA, but this is not an actual requirement to gain access. So again, the FAFSA should just really be used for Pell Grant, just to cover costs of books, housing, and other things that the opportunity does not cover. Students can earn multiple certificate programs. So if they want to do 1, 2, 3 certificate programs, this program is available to those students. So the Bridge Scholarship or institutional scholarships are applied first. So this is where we go back to our the way the funding is structured, or institutional funds. So the opportunity is considered a middle dollar. Students do not qualify, students who don't qualify for a probationary period. And this basically means that, so if a student, let's just say, doesn't meet eligibility requirements, let's just say under the New Mexico Legislative Lottery Scholarship, and they want to gain access to our Legislative Lottery Scholarship. This is extremely important because the probationary period, you have to wait out 2 years before you can actually access funding under the Opportunity Scholarship. So as we go into the fees, they're defined as mandatory fees. $50 are capped per credit hour, and course-specific fees, or otherwise determined by our agency, which our agency has a list of zip codes that are provided to the institutions that determine approved fees, which are more for health-related fields that require higher course fees. So that would be determined again by the institution and the structure that we have provided to them. So in differential tuition also is not covered for those students in specific programs. So that would be something that, again, if filling out the FAFSA could possibly help those students to cover those costs. So this just kind of gives you our zip code. So this is basically, it's a very generous and very open examples of some of our high demand certificate and trade programs. This is just a really brief description of what is available to those students who are seeking those certificate or trade programs. Again, it's very generous and broad. We wanted to include many aspects of these programs into the Opportunity Scholarship. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what is available for those students. So this is what I had mentioned earlier, kind of the way the stacking of funding in the middle dollar. So the New Mexico opportunity is considered middle dollar. So that means that we're going to stack our financial aid packaging. We're going to have our state funded financial aid programs that will kick in. So let's just say a student has a GI Bill or has eligible for the student incentive grant. It's going to kick in first, and then anything that scholarship doesn't cover in terms of tuition and fees, the opportunity will kick in, and then any other financial aid such as Pell that would cover books and other cost of attendance would be third. So this is just the stacking of how financial aid is packaged. Yes. On top of our Opportunity Scholarship, we wanted to give you all a little brief description of some of the other programs that we do offer as well for some of our healthcare and also our teachers within the state of New Mexico. So we have, again, our lottery scholarship, our loan for service and loan repayment programs. Next slide. So basically, just to kind of give you a brief, the financial aid division, we help students pursue higher education, educational goals, parents, and also to our parents of and our community, and providing them opportunities and financial aid support. So the financial aid division is about over $20 million in state financial aid that is offered statewide to our students here in New Mexico. So that is extremely exciting, and we're only growing. So just to, again, the financial aid support that our students receive has been growing, and we're excited about that. Next slide. So we wanted to also give you some additional information on our legislative lottery scholarship, and as the opportunity and lottery kind of go hand in hand with each other in terms of what path the student is going to go through as enrolling in a post-public secondary educational institution here in New Mexico. So you do have to be a New Mexico resident. Students had to have graduated from a public or an accredited private New Mexico high school, or completed requirements under a homeschool with registered with the public education department and received those high school credentials as recognized. So they don't necessarily have to be homeschooled within New Mexico, but we do recognize those students. A student must enroll full-time. So within 16 months of high school graduation or receiving that high school equivalency credential. So they have 16 months to enroll in a post-public secondary educational institution. So their first time enrollment will depend their full-time or part-time status eligibility for the legislative lottery scholarship. So in students, if a student enrolls full-time out of state or private college, they forfeit eligibility under the lottery scholarship. So a student must be enrolled for 15 credit hours at a 4-year university within the state of New Mexico. So our research or comprehensive institutions. If a student also is going to attend a 2-year community college, they must enroll in 12 credit hours per semester. A student must maintain a 2.5 grade point average to continue eligibility and actually obtain and continue eligibility under the lottery scholarship. The same goes for opportunity students. Students with disabilities may qualify for reduced credit hour load, and that is done through their student services at the higher education institution of attending. So some of our frequently asked questions, what if a student lost lottery? Can they receive the opportunity scholarship? And so again, the question is no. We get this quite often, and I think because the programs go hand in hand with each other. So if a student is not able to have a probationary semester So the student basically at that point, if they're, again, it has to be mitigating circumstances. So if a student loses lottery scholarship, they would have to wait 2 years before they're eligible for opportunity funding. So those students can, however, appeal for lottery scholarship through their institution, depending on the situation, and then the probationary period would be granted to those students. So what if a student graduated from a New Mexico high school and wanted to enroll half-time at a New Mexico public institution? Could the student receive the lottery scholarship? So no, the student must be full-time. So this is in regulations that a student must enroll full-time. So again, it's going to be that 15 or 12 credit hour requirement. They do have that 16-month grace period to recognize when a student graduates. So in the event the student leaves the state and wants to a military or religious obligation, they do have that 16-month grace period to return to New Mexico and still have an opportunity to access the legislative lottery scholarship. Again, they wouldn't receive the opportunity scholarship only for those fees as a lottery student. So now we're going to get into our health professional student loan for service programs. These particular programs, we provide loan for service programs to increase our health professionals in areas of the state that experience shortage. So this basically means we're going to offer individuals a loan. However, we're going to in turn require them to provide service practicing in a healthcare designated shortage area within the state of New Mexico. These designated shortage areas within New Mexico is everywhere for this program except for the exception of Los Alamos County. So for every year of loan that they receive, they'll have to provide a year of service working in that designated shortage area. When they complete their service commitment to the state of New Mexico, 100% of that loan that we provided to that student will be forgiven. So this was some of the requirements for our health loan for service program. It's a New Mexico resident, of course, of 12 consecutive months, attending a post-secondary education institution here in New Mexico. You can use this as an undergrad or graduate student. Enroll at least half-time, which is typical for 6 credit hours. Students under this program do have to demonstrate financial need, which would be completing the FAFSA. And then students must declare the intent to practice in a shortage area here within the state of New Mexico upon completion of their studies. So we also provide the Allied Loan for Service program. So again, this program is to increase those allied professionals in shortage areas within the state of New Mexico. The eligible healthcare fields is physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech language pathology. So it kind of goes on. So these again, just kind of give you an idea of what's supported under our Allied Loan for Service program. Same requirements as at least half-time enrollment within a New Mexico public education institution here in New Mexico. The award per year is $8,000 per semester. So it's a total of $16,000 per year to our students who have demonstrated financial need. The funding goes directly to their institutions. Individuals must apply to our office. Application deadline for all of our loan for service is May 15th through July 1st of every year. So here's our medical loan for service program. Again, this is to increase physician assistants in areas that are experiencing shortages here in New Mexico. You have half-time enrollment at the University of New Mexico. We also have our Burrell College that is a partner that we have recently opened up to our medical students. It is $25,000 per year, $12,500 per semester. So the award is given in a renewal, and it's renewable basically up for 4 years until the individual completes their studies. So the application deadline is the same, the May 15th through July 1st. And then we have our nursing loan for service program. So these are our nursing students who are attending our post-public secondary educational institutions, half-time enrollment as undergrad or graduate nursing degree programs. Again, this program is based on financial need. It is $16,000 per year, $8,000 per semester. All of these awards are renewable, and application deadline is the same, May 15th through July 1st. And then we have our nurse educator loan for service. So this program is actually for individuals who are faculty within our college or universities, so employed nurse educators who are wanting to either obtain a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral, or just simply taking refresher courses. This is something that we offer to our faculty nursing educators who are working in our institutions. They can apply for this particular award. So it's based on a credit hour in regards to the amount that they're going to receive for a fall and spring. So you can see that listed there. They may renew up to 4 years, and the application is again the same, May 15th through July 1st. We also have our Western Interstate Commission on Higher Education Loan for Service programs. These programs are for our students who are have New Mexico residents and who would like to enroll in a program not offered here within the state of New Mexico. So those particular programs would be our dentistry, veterinarian, and optometry programs that, again, New Mexico does not offer. We allow our New Mexico residents to apply for this particular program, and we will help pay the differential cost between the in-state versus out-of-state tuition rate. So New Mexico will step in and pay that for those students, having them come back to the state of New Mexico and work in their chosen field for that loan to be forgiven. So this is a great program for those students who are seeking those particular fields. So you do have to be, of course, a U.S. Citizen or permanent resident alien, graduate from a New Mexico accredited high school here within the state of New Mexico, or I believe you have to reside in New Mexico for, I believe it's 3 years, and attend an eligible public and private, of course, veterinary or dentistry optometry program under the Western Interstate Commission on Higher Education. So they have a list of those eligible programs and institutions on their website. So here are the support fees. So this kind of gives you an idea of what the differential cost is for the in-state versus out-of-state tuition rates. Students for our dentistry, we cover the $29,250. That is the out-of-state tuition cost that the students would have to pay in the event they were not participant of our program. Veterinarian, $34,650, and for optometry students, $21,125. So these particular support fees do increase each year, so they do vary. So the application for the WICHE program is available in August of each year. So here's kind of a brief listing of the dentistry, veterinary, and optometry schools that are eligible to participate in our program. So this gives you kind of an idea of who's eligible and institutions that are a participant of the WICHE program. So the Health Professional Loan Repayment Program, this is one of a really very interested program through our health professionals within the state of New Mexico. So this is for individuals who have outstanding student loan debt and are working in an underserved area within the state of New Mexico in a healthcare profession or discipline. And so it's it was a 2-year service commitment. It is now a 3-year service commitment. The legislature passed legislation that increased the service commitment for this particular program. So as of July 1, for our new cycle, is going to be 3 years of service under this program. So the Health Professional Loan Repayment Program, U.S. Citizen and permanent resident, 12 consecutive months, licensed or certified in the state of New Mexico to practice by the date their agreement starts, so typically around July 1st. Employed full-time, so this was another requirement that just changed. Full-time was recognized as 40 hours. It is now 36 hours for full-time employment. So these are the professions that are eligible for our health professional loan repayment program. So all these individuals listed and also determined by our health advisory committee who reviews each application. These are the kind of a little list of those eligible professions that may apply for loan repayment assistance. So the maximum allowable award is $25,000 per year. So individuals may be eligible for $25,000 for a 3-year service commitment. So let's just say an individual has $100,000 of student loan debt. For 3 years, they would get 25, 25, and 25. They may renew this particular program to receive additional, to receive an additional award to help relieve that student loan debt. The application deadline is on our website, and application is March 15th and closes on May 1st. So here's another great program. Our teacher loan repayment program is for teachers designated in high need teacher positions in the public schools through of course, our providing educational loan repayment to those teachers. So this has been another wonderful program and a huge interest for our teachers working in our high designated teacher position and high risk teacher positions here within the state of New Mexico. So the teacher loan repayment program, so the eligibility, you have an endorsed and currently teaching either bilingual, teaching early childhood education or special education. There's either the STEM, so science, technology, engineering, or math. Those are the eligible teaching positions that are eligible for our program. So we also teaching in a low performing school. So that is also taken into consideration in regards to the award for each teacher. You do have to be, of course, U.S. citizen, New Mexico resident, currently teaching again in a high need risk area. You also have to be a licensed teacher, have taught at least 3 years. So with this particular program, you have to have already 3 years of teaching within the state of New Mexico. So it will require 3 years of contracts for these teachers. And then preference is also given to New Mexico post-secondary education, post-secondary institution graduates. So again, it's just preference. Most individuals who apply for this particular loan are awarded funding. So the maximum award amount is $6,000 per year. It is a 2-year service commitment to the state of New Mexico. Of course, the award amounts are based on their student loans. Awards, of course, are dependent on the school's need for the designated high need teaching position, total debtness of the actual individual, and available balance of our teacher loan repayment funds. We've been very lucky to award most of our individuals who apply for our teacher loan repayment program. So they may renew upon completion of their 2-year service obligation with the state of New Mexico. They are required to sign a contract committing to serve employment at that particular school district for 2 years. Payments are made annually and directly to their student loan provider. Those application dates are July 1st through August 1st. So as you can see, we awarded about 1,411 are currently on our program.